I completely agree. Think about this. You're like order, speed, order, aim. It's a methodology for applying a synthetic intelligence into your workflow and into your products. Like there's been no precedent for this. There's not. There's been computer tools. There's been people you can hire. There's been all these new technologies that have come along. But like there's never been anything like this. This is like science fiction in a way. It really is. It's weird to even say this on this podcast because it really is like science fiction. It's like, oh, there's this emerging semi sentient, you know, alien intelligence that's like really, really smart, getting smarter, changing every day. I know I should be tapping into it, but it's like I have to come up with some new methodology. I got to unlearn things. I got to learn new things. I could break things in the process. Like no wonder everybody's sort of using consultants and needs help and is afraid. And yeah, we do have a methodology for it.
This is AI First with Adam and Andy, the show that takes you straight to the front lines of AI innovation in business. I'm Andy Sack, and alongside my co-host, Adam Brotman, each episode we bring you candid conversations with business leaders transforming their businesses with AI. No fluff, just real talk, actionable insights for you. Today's mini episode, we're going to talk about the restaurant AI understanding gap and attempt to give you an understanding of what we're learning by talking to executives at restaurant chains across the country. Welcome, everybody. Adam, how are you? I want to start today's episode off with a story that you and I were just talking about when you were talking to a CEO of a potential client of ours.
Yeah. So first of all, when we talk about restaurant CEOs or restaurant leaders versus other industries, of course, there's a bunch of stuff that makes restaurants unique. It's a unique kind of business. They're cousin of retail and retail services, but they're their own thing. The other thing that makes them unique, though, besides being restaurants when others aren't restaurants, is that they tend to focus on being really good at concentrating their efforts at guest experiences, the food, the service, the ambiance, the location. Like that's what a restaurant operator is good at. They're not good at technology, Jen. Some of them are. I don't mean to be too broad, but it's not their forte, right? So their forte is going to be, as you'd want them to be, more around the guest experience across the board. So I was talking to this CEO of a decent sized restaurant chain, a fast casual, and he said he had just gotten back from a restaurant conference. He's like, "Oh, Adam, we need you. Like, we need you. The industry needs you." I'm like, "Okay, I'm here. What do you need?" And he's like, all the talk of the conference was about AI. It wasn't an AI conference. It was a restaurant conference. We're all talking about AI and we're all freaked out and afraid and we need consultants. I said, stop. What do you mean afraid? I kind of get it, but tell me more about what you're afraid of. That's an interesting emotion. And he said, we don't know really where to start. Like a year ago, we just didn't know what we didn't know. And so AI was this thing, but we weren't like afraid because we didn't even understand it. We now understand enough to know this is powerful. This isn't hype and like we should be tapping into it, but we don't really know where to start. And we're afraid that we're going to like start in the wrong place and we might break something. So like obviously break something includes giving away confidential information or breaking some production system that screws up their business and their guest experience, which is what they're so protective of as they should be. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting that that's the case. They don't know where to start, right? And it's interesting because you think about like, if you're a restaurant leader, you're on the one hand, you're thinking like, oh, I should be like doing things like AI in the drive-through, or like Papa John's just released this voice AI concierge in their app called Lou AI. Like, is that what we're supposed to be doing? Like things like ordering AI, like integrating into our ordering flows on drive-through or on our app, or are we supposed to be using it for back of house stuff? And how do we do that when our data is not very cleaned up? So that's kind of what's going on in their head. And I just thought it was interesting that, they don't know what to do. There's another example that I'm going to give you that's related but different, where we were talking to another C-suite member of another restaurant chain. And they were like, our CEO says AI is powerful. I don't know where to start on it. Same kind of theme, but I just know like, there's no way this thing isn't real. And there's no way we couldn't be getting a lot of efficiencies out of it. So why are we hiring people before we become AI first? So he said, I'm going to stop hiring. And I was like, these are like not the same story, not the same company, obviously, but they're related in that you've got, you've got now the restaurant leader sort of, they can kind of squint their eyes and go, I can feel this thing, but I don't know where to start. And I want to comment on that, but I want to get your thoughts on like when you hear that, like what's your reaction? Because I have some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you shared that story with me, and it's very similar to what we've, I would say at Form 3, we've been evolving our methodology and writing a lot, and we've come up with this methodology, which is speed, order, aim. And when I hear the story that you tell about the CEO who is afraid, he's basically saying, we don't know where to start. We don't know how fast to go. He doesn't really say where to aim, but like in many ways, aim comes after the speed and order. And what do we mean by that? What we mean is, and we have this conversation, like everybody knows that AI is a big deal and it's important, and that they're largely, everyone sort of feels insecure about their capability set and the level of training. And so the question is, how fast should we be moving in relation to broadly AI digital transformation? And then in what order? Where do we start, and in what order do we go? Which department, which workflows? Those are the questions. So when I hear the story, it really plays into, which we developed that methodology really because we've been consulting in the space for the last 3+ years. And it was really this moment in January when agents came out and we entered the agentic era that we felt like we needed to update our methodology. And so that's what I hear.
I completely agree. Think about this. You're like order, speed, order, aim. It's a methodology for applying a synthetic intelligence into your workflow and into your products. Like there's been no precedent for this. There's not. There's been computer tools. There's been people you can hire. There's been all these new technologies that have come along. But like there's never been anything like this. This is like science fiction in a way. It really is. It's weird to even say this on this podcast because it really is like science fiction. It's like, oh, there's this emerging semi sentient, you know, alien intelligence that's like really, really smart, getting smarter, changing every day. I know I should be tapping into it, but it's like I have to come up with some new methodology. I got to unlearn things. I got to learn new things. I could break things in the process. Like no wonder everybody's sort of using consultants and needs help and is afraid. And yeah, we do have a methodology for it. But it's interesting how, like, I want to talk about one thing in that whole new methodology that we have that you just mentioned, which is the unlock, because it's like, that's the aim, right? So speed is like, get off, don't be a deer in the headlights, like start learning this stuff, start getting at least a group of people that are taking advantage of this stuff so you can get efficiencies. You can start to get some growth on the top lines, some, optimization of things in the middle of your business and your customer experience. And, start figuring out what order to stack rank those things. That's the order of speed order. And then aim is going to end up being some unlock. Like it's going to be, you're going to start doing this and you're going to realize like, what are the one or two things in the order that actually are game changing that weren't possible before AI? And you want to get there because that's the innovative side of this whole thing. Like the rest of it is super important.
And can you give people an
Yeah, so I'll give it my favorite example. This is like giving away free alpha for restaurants. This is now some of the stuff that we consult on. But like say that like humbly because I don't know if it's any good, but people can be the judge. So like I actually, at the risk of, I don't want to offend Papa John's. I actually know some of the people there, and they're really smart. And they know what they're doing. I'm not convinced that in the app, in ordering AI is an unlock. I actually think in the drive-through, in ordering AI is an unlock. And let me explain what I mean. You're on your phone. Okay. Am I really struggling when I'm on my phone to figure out how to tap my way and add to my cart and customize my pizza or my coffee if I'm Starbucks or whatever? Like, no, it's really not my problem. It's not the pain the customer is going through. Could it be I can add some, concierge on my app? Like, okay, but in the drive-through, it's different. In the drive-through, you've got language differences. You've got the opportunity to redeploy labor of the person at the window and on the headset to like being able to take care of the customers and do a better job inside. And so if I can sort of take that distraction, that labor away from the window and redeploy it towards the customer experience and add to order accuracy, speed, language understanding, and upsell, like that's an unlock. And as those are two, they look the same, but if you actually like understand what the AI could be doing, drive-through is much more of an unlock than the app. It's just an example of like aim. Like, but you're not going to know that. Like, if I just went to someone who wasn't AI proficient in the restaurant industry, they're going to think, oh, that's so cool. Like, you're going to add concierge voice ordering to your app. Like, that's amazing. Like, it just sounds innovative. And I'm not saying it's not smart. Like, I might get proven wrong. And it's like, oh my God, Starbucks, I think, is planning on doing something like this. And obviously, Papa John's is. But I'm saying, like, for example, I probably wouldn't start at the app. I'd start at the drive through, for example. I'll give you another example. I might be like, the ordering experience isn't a problem necessarily. Let's go to something that's a bigger problem, which is like value. Like, how do you use AI to sort of do price optimization and bundle marketing for the customer in a way that can be totally personalized that you couldn't do without AI? That's a huge unlock for the business. Or even helping out the store managers, which are like the most important thing in the whole system, to give them like their own agent so they can have like superpowers, and you don't have to wait for the district manager to get to them, 10 days later. And so like those are examples in the restaurant industry of where's the real unlock versus just bolting on AI to whatever. And then that's different from all the back office stuff that is also possibly a big unlock, like labor scheduling optimization or inventory optimization. So you just got to like, for your business, your unlock's going to be different, and you're not going to get there till you've done what you just said. Like, get on it quick, get proficient, start figuring out the order of things that you might want to start playing with and applying AI to, and then make your way to the aim at the unlock.
Hopefully this episode reduced the fear that some of our listeners might be experiencing in relation to AI. You're going to hear more about Adam and I talking about speed, order, and aim, as well as this AI unlock, because it's tied to the aim. In this episode, hopefully you got a little bit of a sense of where that might apply in the restaurant industry. With that, thank you all for listening to AI First with Adam and Andy. For more resources on how to become AI first, you can visit our website, www.forum3.com, download case studies, research briefing, executive summaries, and join our email list. We also invite you to connect with our AI first community, a curated hub and network for leaders turning AI hype into action. We truly believe you can't overinvest in your AI learning. Onward.